This would be the tomorrow will be the second Valentine's Day that I've spent with you. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Oh, I don't think so.
Huh?
Did I pick the wrong week to quit drinking? Scott Knee Pads, another one of our sponsors. And so if you're wondering, Jimmy, do you only test the stuff of your sponsors? No, but it sure puts it in the front of the line.
This is quite the setup you have here, Jimmy.
Oh, it's a shit show. I would like to be able to have tequila and then still claim that I'm not drinking. I told him I wasn't going to do anything he said in his thing, and I think he did say maybe too many beers. And look at me now. Damn it.
Damn it.
Damn it. Okay.
Live from Pahrump, Nevada, the Valley of the Dirt People, it's Tech Talk Taco Tuesday with your hosts, Jimmy Lewis.
And did I pick the wrong week to quit drinking? That's the question I just had for myself. Yeah, Logan's not here. I should have a co-host coming in for exciting episode number 219, even though my sheet says 215. We're trying to do something right around here. And that's why this show is brought to you by some of our amazing sponsors. Of course, Yamaha, Taco Moto, Scott Sports. Hey, there's going to be a Roosterendo tonight. There will be a Roosterendo Light edition tonight. Climb, like my new Climb Casual stuff. Sweet. DDC, Bulletproof Designs, Fasst Company, Trail Tech, and Double Take Mirrors. All help and support this show that helps support you and your bad motorcycling habit. No, it's a good habit to have. Trust me. It's kept me out of a lot of trouble. I am glad that I think we have sound. If there's no sound, then we have a big problem. But I'm seeing messages in the chat, so we'll see how this goes. Actually, I can see the chat here, and my chat box is not the right size. So I'm going to try to fix that so that we can read them. So I had the power go out this week, which was not that good. And the problem with that is my computer was on, and somehow it reset everything. It reset my buttons and my other buttons, and then it forgot how to talk to the internet and a lot of things. So I will actually, it's out of sync. Thanks, Ron. It's always out of sync. The last time I screwed the show up, the reason it was so jumpy before was because I tried to fix that issue. And you can watch 800 different videos on how to sync up your voice with your sound when you're running a separate sound channel. I used to have a voice-o-matron and all these other things, and now I just have this one button that I love to push. Thank God this show is running on full boost. So what we're going to do is... Oh, yeah, Craig, it's like you were all drinking. And for all you Canadians, I have no idea how you're going to stand me if I'm not drinking. I'll probably be nice to you tonight. So you'll deal with it. Don't watch, just listen. So that's what you're going to have to do. Lots of stuff to get to on this show. Again, this is the show. Tech Talk Taco Tuesday is the show where we, and I say we because I have personality disorders, answer your motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions. If I could get to all the segments that I'm going to invent tonight in the show, it'll be really good. Tonight's sponsor product spotlight, which is brought to you by Bulletproof Designs, which makes these really awesome chain guide swing arm tab protector mounts. This one's actually for a beta. I need to go put it on my beta before I peel the chain guide off. But our product spotlight is brought to you by Bulletproof Designs, and tonight I'm going to talk about these stinky things. Scott Knee Pads, another one of our sponsors. And so if you're wondering, Jimmy, do you only test the stuff of your sponsors? No, but it sure puts it in the front of the line when we come to talk about stuff, and these have impressed me. I talked about it probably about 10 shows ago. I had just got them, and I said I'm going to wear them and I'm put them to the test. I have put them to the test quite a bit, and I'm super impressed because I'm a knee pad guy. I wear knee pads most of the time, especially motocross. I'll do some knee braces and stuff, but they sent me these and said, "Hey, what do you think of them?" I'm pretty sure they're bringing them into the States. If they aren't now, they will soon. I'll tell you this right now. Really good. So I will get into that. And Ron wants to know about the Ducati dirt bike. So I actually watched a video last night. It was kind of like a raw video. It was like someone at the track that had a phone, and they were videoing stuff. And I looked at it for a little bit just to kind of see some things. They were riding on a really rough track. It looked like the day after a national track. It was pretty rough. It looks like it was wet and soupy, and then it dried out. And they only groomed a couple little sections of it. So Ducati 450, I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, just what I've kind of caught in passing. They did a pretty good job of keeping it pretty secret. But bike sounds good. Looks like the power is pretty aggressive. They really weren't able to, really get on it that much because the track was so rough. And to me, it looked very stiff. It looked stiff and rigid is what the bike looked like. But you would actually, to be able to really make any determinations, you'd probably have to see a couple different types of bikes, brands of bikes running to notice anything. The guys that were riding are super high-level guys. They didn't look like they were hammering. They looked like they were just kind of putting in laps. So who knows exactly what they were doing. There really wasn't any commenting on this. But you did see them a couple times pull out a die grinder and start grinding on stuff. It looked like they were actually grinding on the foot peg tabs to make the foot pegs settle down a little bit lower. They might have been, or they were trying to take some material out underneath there. Who knows? Anyways, that's what I know about the Ducati. I don't know much else. And like I said, I can sit there and look at it like anybody else and draw some opinions, but until I actually ride one, I don't know. Don't know for sure. You can speculate all you want. That's what the internet's for. Speculation. Wait, are we on the internet? Gronk Valley Bomb Squad says, I hear you're going to put the Cove 800 rally through its paces soon. Oh, you know what else I was supposed to do today? Besides send out all the Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirts, which I started. Believe me, it's been a process. I have most of them here. I've got like 5 or 6 of them in bags right now, ready to go. And I started getting a process down. The one thing, if I struggle with anything, the thing that pisses me off more than anything else is being inefficient. And I will tell you that, and I'm going to use my remote controller to turn that noise off, which maybe it's not going to work. There we go. Nope. Who knows? I just got a fan going on here. Inefficient, which is what I'm being right now. And so yeah, I was struggling with getting those shirts figured out. You have to weigh each one and figure out what the postage is and all this other stuff. God bless all the people working in the shipping departments of places all over the world. Yeah, you are doing the Lord's work after I just put 5 out of 100 into there. And thank you anybody who bought more than one t-shirt. So it's not really 100. It's going to come down to like 60 some odd packages. And I think if you bought more than one t-shirt, you might be getting a little special surprise in the bag too. So welcome that. And if the person that bought, there's one guy that bought like 6 t-shirts, or 7 actually. I believe he bought 7. If you're in the chat or you're watching this show, you'll know who you are, and I'll remember the name when I see it. If you're that guy and you're in the chat, you win the special surprise tonight, the giveaway tonight, which is one of our prototype Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirts signed by Ricky Brabeck. Dakar winner, 2-time Dakar winner. Ricky Brabeck signed one of our Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirts before he was a 2-time winner. He was only a 1-time winner, so now this thing's worth twice as much. So if that guy, and I can, during the break, I'm going to go get his name and check because he's on a list over there. If that guy's in the chat, he automatically wins the Ricky Brabeck signed Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirt. And if not, I am going to give the Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirt to the best question of the night. And we have our special guest just rolled in late. How were the tacos?
The tacos were awesome.
Okay. So you just don't trip over any wires. Be really careful stepping around here. I know it looks professional, but it's not. And then you can sit down. Welcome to the show, Spencer from Trail Tech, the gear dude. How's your volume?
My volume's good.
Okay, so you want to talk into the microphone. You know how this works.
Yeah.
If you want more volume, I can turn that up there or down. And we're live. We've been going for a little while. I'm trying to figure out what just happened to my screen.
This is quite the setup you have here, Jimmy.
Oh, it's a shit show.
I don't know. It looks pretty professional.
That's what I'd like people to think. But with me being involved, it isn't that good. So I told everybody I go straight to the questions today.
Okay.
And so the job of the co-host typically is you ask the questions, you read the questions and we have them, and then when I have the urge to drink, like when I can't do this, so that's when you would talk. So
Okay.
So let's just say I was really thirsty right now,
Right.
and then you would just have to keep the show rolling.
Gotcha. So I got to read one of these questions?
Well, no, you could just introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Spencer Hill from Trail Tech, marketing manager. Yep, I've known Jimmy for 5 or 6 years.
I'm going to tell this story.
Do you want to talk about the time that you and I spent Valentine's together at a whorehouse? That story?
Yeah, I have a better name for it.
Okay.
I have a better name for it. So make sure you're talking into the mic there.
Okay.
I'm gonna just check some audio levels here when we're doing stuff. And so I got a few questions. That was good. You held it, but usually, I mean, when I say drinking, I really get into, I have a couple.
Yeah.
But I like I told everybody at the start of the show, I probably picked the wrong week to stop drinking.
Why? Well, you obviously didn't stop drinking, though.
No, it's there.
Oh, okay.
No, it can be there. It's right. It's just out of screen's reach. I usually I talk about a tequila.
Yeah.
And whatever, but I just said I'm taking a time out.
Well, you picked a good week. I don't drink, so.
Oh, so you can't even drink for me. I was going to offer you some really good tequila.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I hit the crispy boys, the sparkling water. I hit that hard, but. Yeah,
oh, that's right. You usually have like liquid deaths around you.
Yeah.
That's big in the podcasting world. I see a lot of podcasters have liquid deaths.
Yeah, they're really into that. They do a fantastic job marketing it.
Do you think you could get me some?
Liquid death?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think it would mess up my monster relationship?
I don't know. They don't play in the same space, really. Like,
because it doesn't jack you up,
right now,
and
no.
it doesn't get you down. Because I've been trying.
But it does murder your thirst.
Okay, I've been trying to get a tequila sponsor for a long time now. But okay, back to the questions. Let's see. I hear you're going to put the Cove 800 rally through its paces soon. Yes, this is correct. But I started talking about inefficiency, and I got super inefficient with the show. I had a whole reel that I was going to put together of all the stuff I saw at the show, but that got put behind the T-shirts, and it got put behind the fence I had to take out today.
Me showing up and screwing your whole crap
No,
up.
you guys showed up and you were here in and gone. I hardly even saw.
Your cat tried to take off with us. You told me to not take your cat, but the cat got in the truck, and Aaron opened up the door. He goes, "There's a cat in here."
I told you.
I know. His cat's pretty rad.
So you have a rat in your truck.
You think so?
Yep.
Positive. She got on like she was sitting on the motorcycles. I thought you just trained her.
Oh, I'm positive that she hangs around. She's curious, but if she goes into the vehicles and stuff, if she's really into the vehicles, there's probably or something that smells like another animal that she could go kill.
What about like fast food wrappers and stuff? Was that
no interest?
Not really?
Yeah, no interest. Okay, we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle related products. Craig Albert says, my damn climb knee pads slid down my pants the other day, and my knee hurts like hell after landing in a rock garden. Does Climb make knee pads?
I think he's talking about the actual D3O armor.
Oh, the
that
pad
was like
in the
thing.
Never. If you want your pads to stay in place, do not attach them to your garment.
Right.
This is there. You know, a lot of times when I adventure ride, I wear the climb pants with the pads built in.
Yeah.
But that's like if I'm gonna just do like a street ride or something. If I'm gonna do anything halfway aggressive, I wear my knee pads. And if something smells, Spencer,
You brought your knee pads with you.
my product of the week. That's why I talked about it, is these knee pads. So if this is bad, if this stench,
It's not bad.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because my knee pads and socks can light really things on fire. So
I'm a big, like, I worked at Moscow Moto before this, or before I worked at Trail Tech, and we were big proponents of independent armor and how crucial that was for everything, and people would ask, well, how do you keep the armor in place when you crash? It's like, well, you don't attach it to the garment.
Yeah, you want it to be kind of fixed on the body, and the garments tend to twist and move. And there's ways, like I said, when I wear the climb stuff, I will make sure that the if it's over the boot, it's cinched pretty good, so it has so it's gonna it's gonna get the first impact, the first ding, and then after that, good luck, because it could start twist and turn and all that.
The jackets do better, especially like the Badlands and stuff where they have like the straps, so you kind of are more like harnessed in almost,
Yeah, and so that's like the Under Armour, the chest protector type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what that is. 6 out of 300 isn't bad. What was that in reference to? 6 out of 300. I don't know. Jimmy, says Steve Bilo, do you still take your school on the road? I took it here in Idaho in 2004, 2005. Steve, every once in a while I do. The show brought to you by JimmyLewisOffroad.com. We have... Hey, sold out this weekend. Class sold out today. So we're back in business. I always...
Who doesn't want to come to Pahrump during the winter and like get to ride some motorcycles?
It's beautiful right now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. But I always equate... We were having some slow times, but every time the price of gas drops down, classes are full. Gas gets up $4, $5, $6 a gallon, class goes down. So... yeah, 6 out of 300. Oh, isn't bad. Yes, it is. I don't know what that is. Anyways, somebody said, hi, Jimmy. Victor, can you explain how the Nora 1000 is? Yes, I can explain this because now I was named as the motorcycle competition director for the Nora Mexican 1000. And here's how it is. Victor, Baja is a peninsula, and they have a place called Ensenada, and that's where we're going to start. And we're going to finish in a place called Cabo San Lucas, and that's how it is.
And as the course director, what does that entail? You're gonna make the book for it,
Yeah. So and I'm not actually I'm the competition director. So it's like course director. It would be only in charge of the course, but they put me in charge of all of the moto. What did the Mexicans call me? The Mexicans called me the El Jefe Motos.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like that.
Boss of the motos.
We should get that on a name tag for you or something.
Right. Maybe even this year I'll get a staff shirt.
Yeah.
But so I've been working with them for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. Kind of just started helping them slowly move into the road book phase because they were having a lot of injuries, and it was confusing because they mandated road books for cars, which ended up being a really bad idea because when you're in Mexico, it's like Baja 1000 style racing. It's marked courses, and they do give you like a tulip set of notes, but you never use this. You use a GPS, and the course is marked, and you can pre-run. Well, Nora is none of that. Nora is no pre-running, and they give the cars a GPS track file, but they also get a map book, and that's how you know where the dangers are. They give them a GPS file that has waypoints that mark the dangers, but the waypoints also mark the turns, and the waypoints mark the speed zones, and the waypoints. So when you're on a motorcycle, I mean, even if you had a Voyager Pro, which you're very familiar with,
I am, yeah,
and you had the waypoints to say what they are, you can't see that at speed, and so
Even if you have it like in your right field of view too. Yeah, not to mention if you're trying to glance down.
Well, that's what a road book is. But at least when you have a rally road book, you know, like they race in Dakar, you have to dedicate time to look at that thing. Mm-hmm. And the dangers are clearly marked. They're colored. They're red. You know, you can see it. So you have an idea of what's coming. Whether you pay attention to it's a whole different thing. But we had very good success the first couple of years of doing the road book navigation. So the first year, the course was done. They said, "Can you help us?" I came in, got the road books mostly up to speed. The next year, they let me completely do the road books for motorcycles. So I switched from the old kind of Nora style to a more of a rally raid style, just because road books are like art. I always tell people, and it's just different artists. And I'm not the best by any means, but I do I understand how to make them better. Mm-hmm. So I took them, made them better, and they gave me a little leeway to change the course, because they're running, you know, they're running everything from old vintage Baja race cars from the 1960s all the way up to all-wheel drive trophy trucks, and they have motorcycles, and they really don't like motorcycles and cars to have interactions, but they also do this thing called they call it a Baja Safari, which is kind of a non-competitive thing, and so we were still having issues with sometimes the other car, the Baja Safari cars being on there, but we separated it out so that we didn't have bike, very few. One or two times the fast cars caught some of the slow bikes, and they have a Sentinel in them, and with the tracking unit. So we kind of eliminated that, but they gave me some options to be able to change the course a little bit, and everybody really liked just the small course changes that I made. Mm-hmm. And they said, "We want more of this." And it got back to the race direction. And I said, for the LSAO, the Mexicans that I work for, I said, "I want to make this way better, but it's not going to be cheap. We're going to do this the right way." Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to, we're not trying to take on the Baja 1000, and we're not trying to knock other rallies out. I want to have, like the Nevada Rally was for me. I said this in the press release. The Nevada Rally was the gateway for me to get into rally. Mm-hmm. It was accessible, and the navigation back then, just by nature, because we didn't have GPS or anything. It was just road books, so you could just go practice. It was almost like somebody took a dual sport ride roll chart and made it big. And I'm like, I like this. I want to do this.
Right.
So I'm gonna make the course really fun, super fun. It's not gonna be on very much car course. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to be on a track that's been in the Baja 1000 in the last 5 years.
Right.
Like, because it's just chewed up. And anybody that says, "I want to go ride that stuff," go ride it for 10 miles and come back and tell me you want to ride it anymore.
Yeah.
Watch a helicopter video of bikes on the Baja 1000 course and tell me you want to do that for 1,000 miles.
Right.
I don't want to do it for 5, let alone 10
right.
at all. So, and I've been down there a bunch. I'm going to go back. I got probably about another month down there to get this all sorted out. But we know where we want to go. And so now I'm making road books. And I'm all the way down to Guerrero Negro. Mm-hmm. I mean, 10 miles maximum in the first 500 miles of hoops.
Really?
So it's amazing. And the good thing is because we're a small amount of motorcycles and there's no pre-running, we can go places that regular races can't go.
Yeah.
And
what are the parameters on that? Like, is it
there's
a huge sandbox, or do you have to stay within a certain area?
There's areas you have to stay in. There's areas you can't go. There's biological areas, and they have an ecological consultant that they deal with. So we propose where we want to go, and they say, yeah, you can go here. No, you can't go there.
Okay.
Motorcycles can go here, but cars can't. And there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
The pre-running from the Baja races, the score races, has really turned off a lot of locals, people that live there, to this, because they may have a speed limit during the race, but do you think anybody goes that speed when they're pre-running?
No.
And half of the people are down there pre-running with 6 of their buddies, and it's just a dusty mess, and now your road's completely torn up, and there's a lot of noise, and people aren't happy. Right. And but since Nora's kind of a one-day thing, they can do things different. They have really good working relationships with a lot of the landowners and the ranches. And, when they told some of the ranchers where we were going to go, they're like, 40 motorcycles? Yes, bring them. Because we'll make a little trail, and then that's an easier way for their horses to kind of cruise around on and stuff.
Yeah.
So because we're kind of reclaiming some old roads that are back there and some neat stuff. So anyways, Victor, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to make that. I mean, if you want to get into road book style rally and want to do a real competition that's safe and fun, and it's the days aren't too long. Some of them are they're long. You'll feel like you did something, but they're not like you're not out till 10 o'clock at night or anything like this.
Yeah,
it's manageable distances. You get to do if you want to, you can do the whole course by yourself in one of the rally classes, but some of the age group classes, you can still do teams. Like you can have 2 and 3 rider teams in a 50 class or a 60 class.
Yeah.
So, or a vintage bike. So there's not a whole lot of classes, and it's all really well explained in their rule books. So that's what's going on. And Marco wants me to talk skiing. Marco, you're not going to get me to talk skiing. My skis are tuned, right? They're up in Mammoth waiting for me someplace.
Nice.
Okay, so that's what Nora is. Connor Steele. Jimmy, looking to get in rally, and I've got a couple questions. You came to the perfect place. Should I go with traditional or digital road book? Baja Rally, Nora, Sonora are the targeted rallies. If digital, what do you recommend for a tablet? Does Nora plan to go with a digital road book in the future? So, Connor, I have been using a digital road book, which is basically an iPad mini, for about 6 or 7 years. And I don't think I've loaded a paper road book since I started doing it. Should you go with it? For training and practice, absolutely. But if you're going to compete, you need to have the capabilities to do whatever the organization requires. Nora, for instance, right now is on track, 90% on track to be paper only. Mm-hmm. We are looking at some digital roadbook options. And the reason for this is right now with digital roadbooks, if it's an organization provided roadbook, it's very expensive. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking in the thousands of dollars to get a roadbook. But there are some apps for both iPad and Android things now where we can send you, we could send you the PDF file, but that file is too easy to share.
Right. You got to encrypt it somehow.
We don't want our course to get out there.
Right.
Like, in fact, we recollect road books.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that we've got is so good that I don't want people to start, running tours through it and stuff.
Right.
So we need to be able to protect our assets in the road books. But there are some systems out there right now where you can open the road book up for a day and then it's no longer available.
Yeah.
So and the road book the digital road book all it would be is a PDF reader. You're still going to need to have, you can run it in whatever app, but the app, if the app is also the odometer and the cap repeater, mm-hmm. you should probably have that on your bike anyways, separate from that. But I would just go digital, and if I were doing digital right now, I would use Rally Blitz, which is just search Rally Blitz, Connor, and that's the one that I use. And it works really good with Rally Navigator, which is the software I use. By the way, big ups to Rally Navigator, Mike Shirley. Sometimes he's in the house. Yes, throw some RNs up in the chat if you like Rally Navigator. This is the new thing I'm learning. I watch a lot of some of the DJs on the things. Big ups. But anyway, so the apps you need to do it would be there's RB Nav Pro, which is Rally Blitz, RB Nav Pro, and then there's another app that we use on the phone that's called Rally Blitz, and that is just the odometer and cap repeater on the phone, but it also recognizes waypoints. So if your roadbook has waypoints and it's FIA style waypoints, it can do all the things. It can mimic what like a Stella or ERTF or a Rally Comp does.
That's cool.
So you can basically pretend like you're on a real rally.
I like pretending like I'm in a real rally sometimes.
You should do one.
Yeah.
So,
I
hey,
was asking. I was on the
there's-
phone with you the other day. Remember, I was asking you how do we make big bikes rally bikes?
in the United States.
Yeah, and you were like, just don't do it.
Don't do it in the United States. Don't do it as an event. No, what you need to come down to Nora because there's rumors there's a twin cylinder team coming.
Oh, I'll do it.
So and somebody asked me today, and I actually talked to another guy I know really well that has kind of a job being an ambassador on a twin cylinder bike.
Who could that be?
I don't know, but
You almost said it.
because I don't want to out him when he doesn't show up. But in private, that guy's gonna get it if he doesn't show up. Because I told him, I said, hey bud, if I could ride my Tenere on this rally, it wouldn't be my first choice, but I would.
Yeah.
If I knew where their twin cells, and I kid you not, Nora is known for inventing classes when there's a group of, if 10 guys show up and they say, hey, we're going to drive VW buses in the Nora 1000, like, okay, we'll make a class.
Yeah.
This is what they do in the cars and stuff. We're trying to minimize the motorcycle classes, but like last year, Radek rode a 890.
Well, Radek's not.
Radek. He's not right. Yeah. But he's a monster to begin with, just size wise, so he can do this. But even me, I'm not that big of a guy. I could easily ride my 790 on everything on the course and not have any problems. So, I mean,
You've also been known to be pretty good at riding motorcycles.
I practiced a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay. Craig says it's like watching a strobe light. Well, guess what? My drop frames is 0 this time. So you take your strobe light and blame your own feed because I did it right tonight. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see. I look like the first moon landing. Yeah, that's how good the feed is.
This is pretty high res. I don't know if we're looking at the same thing.
No, it's their feeds and what? Let's see. It has to do. Is what I'm learning is it has to do with a lot of stuff, like what Facebook or what YouTube is doing. Like if everybody's watching YouTube in your neighborhood, it could be slow just in your zone, and it could be your feed, or it could just be YouTube spitting that stuff.
That's big internet. They're turning your dial down.
It could be. You believe in that?
No, I don't know. The algorithms, all the algorithms are out to get you.
I know they're out. I don't cheat them. I try to feed them.
You try to. Feed
I try
them,
to feed them, not cheat them.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's different.
We'll talk about the Insta raping later.
The Insta raping. I don't know why you call it that. Like,
Oh, I'll tell you why.
why?
No, I'll tell you why.
Because we came out and hung out.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's how you learn. I mean, sometimes you learn lessons the hard way.
What are you talking about? You got a big profile in Upshift magazine. It was cool.
No, it was good. It ended up being good, but I joking because I didn't. I mean, I knew it. I understood it. But and it was funny because you guys were very into like the tagging and you guys were cheating the algorithms at that time.
No.
Yes.
We were using, if the system only works if you work it, Jimmy.
Okay. I'll buy that. You were definitely one step of you were kind of you were taking advantage of every possible.
Yeah, but this was still when Instagram was like, there was a level of organic, like this was when still things were still chronological. So when people posted things, you saw it. Now it's picking and choosing. So
Right.
I don't even try anymore. But
Well, that's what it's coming to. I mean, it's someone that's way smarter than me and knows a lot about this. Basically said, if you figure out how to optimize SEO or cheat the algorithm or whatever it is like that, not only will they figure it out pretty quickly because they'll still go, why did this spike?
Yeah.
They'll also let you do it for a little while to watch exactly how they'll watch exactly how you do it. They'll learn from it, and then they're going to penalize you forever.
Yeah.
It's like it's like your 3-strike rule kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Let's get to the thing. We talked about skiing. BB says, I love the Trail Tech Vapor. Great value, speed, RPM, and temp for under $200.
We love the Vapor too.
That's
Thanks
right.
for using it.
Trail Tech. I remember when those first came out, they were so far ahead of their time.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, Jeff back then was always coming up with these crazy things. And I saw him on.
I still have never met Jeff.
Really?
Everybody talks about Jeff, and they're like, "Oh, I should go ride with him." Blah blah blah.
No, you don't want to go riding with. He'll torture you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. He evidently his.
I didn't say I want to race the guy though. I just.
Oh no. If you just go trail riding, it will turn into a race.
Yeah.
That's
maybe with you.
That's no. Well, he wanted to race with me, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm out trail riding because we were in his backyard, and he knew the trails, and he likes hard enduro stuff, and so Frank White is your guest from Trail Tech. We need a speedometer for the Cannondales. Do they still make that part? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So Frank White is he's the owner of ATK.
Okay.
And they bought all of the Cannondale stuff. So they're still, I don't know. Frank, are you still manufacturing those things? Like making new ones? I heard Cannondale, the bike business, is going.
I don't know.
But yes, I'm pretty sure they still make the part. If you want, I can put you in touch with Connor, and Connor, I'm looking at names here. Spencer, and he can get you in touch. What app do you use for the iPad? Like I said, RB Nav Pro, Rally Blitz. Just search that on the App Store, and you should be good.
The answer to that question is any bike will be better than a 2007 CRF 250R. No, I thought it was
Blandford. We got to read his.
250L.
I'll read his question, then you can answer it.
Okay.
Okay. Blandford's riding compound.
Okay. Sounds daunting.
He's got a compound.
It's kind of like you.
No, I have a campus.
A campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What 2024 dirt bike comes with the best suspension from factory for riding tight single track and jumping smaller jumps sometimes? I currently ride a 2007 CRF 250R, which is set up for moto. His answer is which bike, Spencer? Which bike?
I'm not the right person to ask. The only 20. I was just gonna say I made a funny comments about it, but I've ridden the 2024 KTM's and they're rad. The new suspension on the 500 is close to professionally tuned stuff that I've had done. So that's where I'm gonna lean. But I don't ride as many bikes as you.
Okay,
so.
Blandford. This and Spencer both. This show, Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha makes a wide range of dirt bikes that I'm sure would meet your needs. And if you're coming off, so the interesting tight single track and jumping smaller jumps. So this is where it gets interesting, because when you go to a single track, the absolute worst thing you could do is have a moto bike. Mm-hmm. And then when you have jumping smaller jumps, that's where you get between the we'll call them competition trail bikes or trail bikes and the FX or XC style bikes, which is the combination, racing / you could go to the moto track, mm-hmm. but at that point, so what we're talking about, if we're talking on the KTM line, you're talking XCWs and XCs. And then if you're on Yamahas, you're talking WRs and FXs, where the YZ is the motocross bike.
Yeah.
And so it kind of depends on how much you want to do tight single track and how much you want to do the jumping part of it, even though it's just small jumps. Because mm-hmm. I've had people say, I want to do small jumps, and then I see them jumping Teneres off of ledges, and they call that a small jump, and I'm like, no.
You want to talk about stock suspension? Let's jump some Teneres.
No, yeah, well, and then people get their first dirt bike, and they're like, your first dirt bike, what is it? And they go, BMW 1300 GS. I'm like, that's not a dirt bike. so you got to take the thing. So if you're coming off that motocross bike, anything you get in 2024 is probably going to be better, even a motocross bike. I would, if you're going to go to the track at all, go with the FX or XC type of bike. If you're going to stick heavy on the single track and not really moto it, really look at the WR XCW style bike. It's that's what it is.
I tell people for the adventure bike side,
and if you go best suspension, I'm going to tell you right now that you're going to be hard to beat a Yamaha. And I'm just saying that as a 100% test rider. It's not because they sponsor the show, but they do sponsor the show. The Yamahas are really good, but I just got an argument with one of our with Trevor, our test rider today. He hates the beta suspension right now. He says he was telling me it was the best bike out of the 250s. Then he hates now he hates it because he tried racing it. He's like trying to race a bike that's just way too soft for him. So he's gone from it's okay, it's the best one of these two, and now he's like, well, the KTM suspension was always better. And I'm like, it's a game, but yeah, you know what I got accused of on the last show? You this might surprise you. Dancing my way around giving a good answer.
Huh.
Did I do good at that?
It's called being a politician.
I'm not a politician. I just don't know enough to give you the exact answer. If you gave me more info,
I think you did. I think you did a very good job with that question.
At that point, if you give me more info, I will give you a better answer.
Right.
We can work
more
it out.
details.
You know, I used to have the Seat Concepts Hot Seat Hotline. I know we have a question about this in the thing here, and people want to bring it back because I want them to call in. It's hard to chat in.
Yeah.
And but I want them to call in because then it's instant. There's a little bit of a delay in getting the chat, but that's maybe Trail Tech should come back in with the Trail Tech line.
Tech line. I'm into it.
Okay, because I haven't sent out my sponsorship proposals. Going to wait till everybody burns through their budget.
I was going to say that's a tactical move on your part. Wait until all the budget's spent.
Because I'm adverse to making money. So I figured if I send in all my proposals when everybody's out of budget, that's way it's just easier for them to say no.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's my plan. This is why this show is such a success. Asher Lito wants to know if Pol Torres is doing the Nora Rally. I don't think so. I haven't seen him on the sign-up list yet, but that would be cool. He could do like wheelies and nose bonks, and
I was gonna say
there's some rocks that he could go off the side of the course and do some cool stuff on.
Yeah,
he rode the Eco Race.
Did he?
Yeah, he was on the factory Yamaha
I saw that.
in the Eco Race. Him and there was another guy in the Yamaha, and then there was a couple guys on Aprilias.
Yeah,
and that it goes on the old. It goes at the same time as Dakar, and it goes on the old traditional Paris to Dakar route.
Yeah, I remember I had some friends that did that a couple of years ago, right before COVID.
Okay, and Victor tells me I need to turn my OnlyFans server off while I'm broadcasting.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Eric Hermstead says, I have a problem after washing my bike. It would start up and only run for a second. I kept messing with it, and it would run for about 35 to 45 seconds. And as soon as you gave it a little bit of gas, it would die. Okay, so Eric, before I go any farther, please put in the chat what bike this is, year, make, and model, because that helps me a whole lot. Okay, after checking everything, including fuel pressure, which seems to be around 40 pounds, called PSI, but so he's got a fuel-injected bike, so that's we know this.
Mm-hmm.
With my homemade gauge, I ended up changing the spark plug, and it seems to have fixed it. Does that sound reasonable, that it would be just a bad spark plug all along and not washing the bike? There's a pause here.
He kept us waiting.
Yeah, you're still waiting. So you got to finish the question. I'm just going to go with when you washed it, you got enough water between the spark plug cap and the spark plug and the cylinder, and it was grounding out there.
Yeah.
And then when you went to change it, the water
Dried
leaked
it
out,
or there was enough time.
Because I've seen some of those spark plug caps. A lot of them have a weep hole at the bottom, and that's so that if water does get in there, it can drain out. And if water doesn't get, it doesn't boil and build up pressure and pop the spark plug cap off.
Oh yeah.
I've seen this happen on older bikes with deep weld.
Where do you land? Where do you land on using dielectric grease in there?
If I don't really.
I just thought it might help with corrosion. That's kind of why I do it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. And so I had a KTM when I got back from Mexico. My fuel pump stopped working, and it was a corroded fuse. So I greased them up and stuck them back in there.
Usually with KTM, it's just the fuel pump fails.
Jay Middleton, NMF. Yes, NMF to you too. That's well received here. I'm going to go NMF up and get my skis up in Mammoth. Where are you going to be, Jay? Jibber Jay. So, okay, Weston Crockett says, worth the money to buy a WR and spending money on it, or just buy a YZ and throwing a WR Trance in it? I'm sitting there thinking that a transmission would be probably more expensive because here's the thing with the Yamahas, and what are you talking, 250 or 450? Because Aaron says it's cold outside.
Oh yeah, that's Aaron. He's literally outside. Yeah.
Do they want to come in?
Yeah.
They can come in. Just tell them not to touch anything.
Okay.
There's a lot of contaminated stuff in here. Actually, they can sit on the couch there where I have the merch giveaway section of the office.
I'll text him.
It is cold outside.
Yeah.
No, they're probably petting my cat. That's why my cat's not meowing like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Here.
Well, they're doing their job then.
Okay, so back to the WR, 250 or 450, because the 250 has a 6-speed trans, and the 450 has a 5-speed. And I got a question about the 5-speed trans, but I just think that just pain in the ass hassle. I would buy the WR if that's what I really wanted, was a WR transmission, and go the route of making the motor more into YZ. But what's wrong with an FX at this point? Because the FX is exactly what you're asking for. The FX has the...
What's the difference in money, like out the door?
I think they jump like $200 as you go up. 200 from YZ. You know, it depends on the dealer and the area too. You know, $200 or $400 when you go from YZ to FX, and another few $100 to go to WR.
My question is, how much is your time worth to like do all that work at the end of the day? You know, like just start closer to the final product that you want. You know what I mean?
Switch the switching out the trans is a big deal.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy an ECU, or just start with the FX and add lights if that's the area you want to go. The WR, at that point, is he worried about making the motor different and making the suspension different? There's a lot built into that question. So I would start with a WR. That actually sounds like he's asking for an FX. That's all I say. Yeah, Blue Crew. Thank you to Yamaha for supporting this show. I have I've ripped my WR450 around, and every time I ride that bike, I'm reminded how much, like, I got it set up now with the big tank. So we went riding we had the WR450, we had a YZ250 FX, and a Beta 300.
Yeah.
I should tell everybody about how I the clay pistons that come in the KTMs.
The clay pistons.
Yeah, do you don't know about this?
Yeah, tell me.
No, they say they have clay pistons. That's what I heard, but I had to check for myself. That's why we have a test bike. But anyways, he took the Beta and the 2 Yamahas, and I was riding with the guys from Rabaconda.
Yeah.
They make the tire changing thing. I met them at the show.
Cool product.
Really cool. And we just kind of were just BSing. I'm like, how long are you guys here for? They're here for an extra day. You want to go riding? Yeah, I got bikes. Come on out. We went and ripped around, but the WR is so bitching. We're like when we have these big sand washes out here, and a 300 just doesn't cut it. I mean, it's a point where you want something bigger. And I've been riding so many KTM 500s, which are kind of lazy, and the WR, just 'cause I can tune it with the app. It's so easy to just and so I have my 2 maps in there. I have this, like, basically my sand wash map.
Yeah.
So good. Okay. So regarding the Beta suspension, I fully agree. Now, Trevor, you've started something. It says Gronk VBS. My 20-year-old KTM has better suspension than my 2021 500 RRSS. Gronk is from Canada. He lives underground, like most Canadians do. And he tried to convince me of this a long time ago. So, Gronk, you and Trevor, you guys start your own little fan club. And then Eric's bike was a 2018 Husky FE350. So that does have a really deep spark plug hole in there. And I'll bet you somehow you just got a lot of water in there and it was grounding it out, if that's what fixed the problem.
And were you washing it with a pressure washer or like a garden hose?
Yeah. I have not fouled a spark plug for, I'll bet you it's been 20 years.
Really?
So, I have not had a spark plug go bad for, like, the last spark plug that went bad was on an XR100 when we were racing the Baja 500 on it. it actually
An XR100.
Yeah, it's the one that's up in the shop,
Yeah.
or in the circle garage in the
Yeah.
schoolroom. It's the one that's hanging up on the wall there. It's a really trick little bike, but we actually broke a spark plug. The electrode or
Wow.
the porcelain on it cracked, and believe it or not, we found another XR100 along the side of the course.
And you're like, hey, can
And
I borrow something?
Yeah, I stole it. Stole the spark. No, we actually were given the spark plug. We got a goggle sponsorship too. So yeah, that's was that Larkin, right? I think it was Larkin that gave us. I'd have to ask Larkin, and he probably won't remember either. But we were going down Mike's Road, and when it started sputtering and stuff, I think it had been sputtering for a little while. It started sputtering really bad, and we actually had a XR 650 as a chase bike. Mm-hmm. Was it 650 or no? It would have been the 600 at the time. We had an XR 600 that was like a chase bike because we were carrying extra tubes because no Honda pits would have tires or anything for us. We had wheels spread out at some of the pits, and we had some parts like air filters and things, but we did not have a spark plug because I've never had a spark plug problem on an XR 100.
Yeah.
And this thing was sputtering, and I saw an XR 100 on the back of this motorhome, and I said, pull over. So Dave, who was riding the bike, we pulled over, and we started diagnosing it. Sure enough, we found it, the broken spark plug. And so we just took the spark plug off of that one and put it in and
Nice.
off. And he took our goggles, whatever we were wearing at the time, and threw them in the bushes because he was the GOAT goggles guy. Mm-hmm. And he gave us new goggles and put stickers all over the bike while we were working on it.
Nice.
So, okay. He's the 450. Just thinking suspension, ECU, etc. It starts to add up.
Yeah.
I would say if you're looking, get the FX. The FX has the same transmission as the WR. That's what's cool about that. Well, some people hate the FX for that, but then get a YZ. So, yeah, the FX is your answer, Weston. Tell him Jimmy sent you when you get that FX. So, okay, we are going to get into the questions here. If you want to support Dirt Bike Test, you can click through on our Amazon links, Rocky Mountain ATVMC links as well. Where's Jerry's book? I got it hanging on the wall. Jerry Bernardo's book. You want to have bad dreams tonight?
No, not really.
Okay. No, they're poems. But
Okay.
Did the cat come in?
Yeah, the cat needs to go outside.
Let's see if she sticks around for a couple minutes. Just don't let her into the regular house. Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Hey, Selma, come here. Yeah, come here. You want to be on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday? Here you go, bud. You've been on before.
This cat got into the Trail Tech vehicle immediately.
Yeah.
She felt right at
This
home.
is Selma. She's the official cat of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Say hi, Selma. Say hi. Say hi.
She's like, I'm not your
You're
show
not talking?
pony, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's what she does. She goes to the bar with me now.
Does she?
Yeah.
Will you take her on your bike or in your truck?
No, we walk.
Okay.
Yeah, we walk to the bar.
That's
there's
right.
2 bars within walking distance.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
place. Man, I picked the wrong week to quit drinking. So we can't go to the bar. Okay. So
She's like, you can't go to
yeah.
the bar, Jimmy.
Back to the show.
Yeah.
What else other stuff do we have? Hey, check out our JimmyLewisOffroad.com for our school dates. We have an all women's class that's almost full, and I think our class in April has a couple more dates. So that's what we got going on. And of course, you can dress like me, buy some new Climb Casual gear because
Right.
it's out. They're stocked up. It's good to know.
And I just got to say to anybody that's on the fence that hasn't done one of Jimmy's classes, I've come down here 3 times during the winter and taken your class.
Yep.
And Pahrumph's awesome. And come down here in the winter, plan a couple days on either end, go ride in Death Valley, take a class. It's awesome.
Hey, that's what people, especially if you're not from here, you'd have no idea that this is our riding season.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why I'm down here on a trip right now
Right.
to do 6 days of riding.
It's a little cold in the morning, and it gets really cold really quick at night.
But during the day,
It's optimum riding conditions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then especially when you guys are hitting it. It was so good last week. Like the reason that I haven't sent out those T-shirts that these guys are staring at. Don't touch any of that stuff. No touching. There's that whole area over there is a disaster zone. There's toxic chemicals and hazardous materials. You guys can come over and sit over here on the. Just put those boxes on the ground there, And no turning the massage chairs on. They make too much noise, or you'll make too much noise in there. Yeah, this is awesome riding season. So let's get right into the. What are we testing right now? So let's see. Hey, I should have put a photo of it. So I tested a Honda Transalp in.
Is that Transalp you have sitting out there?
Yeah, I tested it in 2 feet of mud.
Yeah.
Like I was going across. I was going on a road basically where it's hey, show off here. Go down there. I was riding on I was going to a motocross track. I was riding out to a motocross track. There was supposed to be an electric bike intro, and I wanted to go ride the electric bike, but they didn't tell me it was canceled. But it was really muddy at the track, and I'm riding out. It's out in Sandy Valley, and I'm riding out there. And I'm coming from this side. I took dirt roads because it's faster, and I was just buzzing along out there. And I know that the lowest part is really close to that. And I was riding down the road, so I got out of the roadbed because the roadbed's like 2 feet lower than the surrounding thing because it's silt.
Yeah,
and they keep pushing it out, and I didn't want to go down there. But then the ditches going across were really bad. I'm like, I can cut across this thing. Well, when I went down across it, I went over to the other side, and the ditch is really bad. But it wasn't that bad where the road was, so I went back into it, and I was kind of going, and it wasn't too bad. I wasn't spinning too much, and I was able to stay on the crown, and then the crown started to disappear, and I dropped into the rut, and there was still water flowing in it.
Yeah,
and it wasn't that bad, and I should have got out. I got a little cocky, and it was hard, and it just slowly started sinking. And then when I decided to try to get out of it,
it was too late.
Yeah, you couldn't climb it. It just kept falling in. And then I stopped before it was too bad. And then I'm trying to get it out. And I really should have just got off the bike, laid it over, turned it 90 degrees, and pulled out. It was this is on me.
Right.
The thing. But I said,
that's how these things happen. They're these very small things that cascade into a bad situation.
I'm riding by myself, but I have a tracker, and I'm within sight of the motocross track. At this time, I did not know that they had canceled it, or there was nobody there, because there was nobody there. Because I figured, well,
somebody will come help me.
For sure. It's not going to take much to get this out. But anyways, I should have turned the bike, but I went a little bit farther, and it started getting worse. And I'm pinning it, and I'm trying to get it, and and I'm going in worse, and it's getting worse and worse because the water's getting deeper. And now I'm on the skid plate, and I'm screwed. And I stopped a couple times to try to hop it up, but it was in enough of a rut where it just constantly find the bottom. And 400 pounds, I can't win. Yeah. I'm going to lose this battle. So I laid it over, went and found some wood, put it right there. I had my tracker. I sent my I'm delayed message, called my wife, said, hey, look, I'm going to send the I'm delayed one. I got a couple ideas. I called my buddy Jimmy, who's been a co-host on the show from Vegas. Hey, Jimmy, what are you doing? he was like, well, I guess I'm driving out to Sandy Valley. All it took, and I bet you they were just laughing when they came out. All we did was put one little strap around it and just gave it a pull, and that was just enough to be able to drag it up drag it out. But I tried to extract it 3 times. I found wood and panels and bushes, anything I could do, and you'd come out of it, and like there was the main rut where the 2 wheel ruts were, and then there was the 2-foot rut off to the side, and it would just always find its way. And it was that kind of mud that if you tapped on it, water came up. Yeah. I mean, there was water flowing where the bike was stuck, because now that this had made the new deepest spot, and it was filling up with water. But I was able to drag it up out of there, but then it would slide right back in. Yeah. And I was a mess. But so, yeah, I don't do dumb things.
I ran into a section on I think it was the Arizona BDR, one of the like impassable when wet sections. And that's when I learned what impassable when wet meant.
Did you get donut tires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just an absolute shit show. Like, stand the bike up, get on the bike, just fall over. Like, it was snot. Yeah. And it was the tires got all caked up, and a rock actually got the chain and sprocket were so gummed up with mud and crap that a rock had gone in and lodged itself in the front, between the front sprocket and the chain.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was trying to push the friggin' thing, And like I thought there was something wrong with the transmission or something. I could not get the wheel.
You can't
to turn.
see it.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Did your chain look like a big rubber band?
Yeah. Oh man, I was so pissed.
Yeah, when they on those rides, on the BDR rides and stuff like that, when they say not passable when wet,
that's what they mean.
They're not. It doesn't matter what level rider you are. It has to do with what the mud's going to do to your motorcycle and where you're. And here's the thing, because I've gotten stuck out there in thunder showers where if you can keep a certain amount of speed, you're fine. But you're going to have to slow down at some point, and then the tire's going to start picking up the mud, and it's going to, especially with a low fender, it becomes problematic. It's going to get stuck on the sides of the swing arm. The good thing about the rear is you can keep it spinning. Yeah. And you can kind of keep it chucking, but you can't. And so that same thing will happen to the front, and even if you have a high fender, it's going to stick between the forks. Yeah. And these are things you can't get out of. So and if you're not a really skilled rider, it's just going to happen a lot quicker. And you can kind of ride off sometimes into the bushes, but typically, in my experience, where this kind of dirt is most prevalent, it's also really kind of sagey, thick brush that you really can't. Yeah, this was like forested. It was like you didn't really have a choice. You had to kind of stay on it. And you may think, oh, it's on. Sometimes you can ride on the edge of the road. Sometimes the center and the edge is better than the tire track. Sometimes the tire track is best. It's real condition dependent, but I've seen it where I've been riding in the forest and this is like afterwards you come to a section that's all of a sudden it's packing up. Hey, I'm going to, jump off into this pine needles, and then the pine needles, and it makes cement. Yeah. It makes a carbon fiber mud onto your tires. It reminds me of one thing that you taught me or said to me on a ride once, and I still remember it every time I get into sand. You were talking about your rear wheel spinning. Yep. You were like, "Why the fuck are you touching your clutch? The rear wheel, it's already spinning anyway. Right? Like, why are you burning out your clutch in the sand? Like, just it's already spinning." So I think about that every time that I'm dicking around I'm stuck in a sand berm or something like that. I'm like, it's just habit. It's just habit to like want to rev it and go, and it just So it's I don't know why that's the natural instinct, and some of it is because a lot of people they're out of balance, and so what they're doing is they're using the pop of the to catch their balance again. Yeah. So if you eliminate the first problem, you don't have to do it anymore. But you think about it, you're just reducing the power, and if you use your clutch to reduce power, that's a really bad technique, really bad tactic. You never want to do it. You want to use the clutch to amplify the power when you need it. But that's for a different show. I call that Better Rider Podcast. That's for your class. That's for when you come and take the class. Come and take the class. I can explain all this stuff. I still think about that being in balance too. Every time I jump on a bike and almost fall off it. Hey, you guys are going to go riding this week. I'm going to ask you a question. I like this. This is my trivia question I like to ask. This is the casting couch question. When do you grip your motorcycle? Where do you grip your motorcycle? When do you grip your motorcycle?
Ankles. Yeah, ankles.
Ankles. Okay. When do you grip it?
I use my steg bags.
Always? Man. I was going to say, I use my knees more than my ankles. I used my knees until I started listening to the Better Rider podcast.
Oh, okay. We got some people who have had this stuff before. No, the answer is you grip your bike when you're falling off of it. Okay? So when you're out riding and you catch yourself gripping your motorcycle, and I'm talking about gripping onto the handlebars or gripping onto the foot pegs or wherever you're gripping it, ask yourself, why am I falling off my motorcycle? And then fix the problem. Yeah. How do I do that, Jimmy? I don't know. Yeah. If you gotta ask, you can't afford it. No. We're gonna have the whole school on video pretty soon, so everybody can afford it. It should work. Love it. Really good. And Mark Daniels, he's late. Mark usually does Tech Talk Taco Tuesday and Tequila. He has the 5 Ts. He's usually on the plane with it. Mark, I have some bad news. I picked the wrong week to quit drinking, so I can't have a tequila recommendation for you. So good with that. Hey, since it's that time of the show, I'm going to surprise you with this.
The defending champion.
Oh, it's an ad break.
All-new Yamaha YZ450F.
You'll actually listen to the ads.
Ah.
Yeah. Do we have a Trail Tech commercial from you guys? Probably not.
I've got one I can give you, but no, I don't think you do.
I'll send it in when we send the next ad proposals out.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto Co. branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the
Sounds like
store.
Taco Mike's
Everything
here.
that we carry is something that we have personally used,
I was just
tested,
talking to
and
him.
ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Just
Taco
go out
Touch
and get some
demanding
adventure.
standard. He put his taco sauce on it.
Taco sauce. It's funny because usually people will tell us, hey, you left your mics on. Hey, bud.
See, the dangerous part about flex bars is once you ride with them, you can't ride without them.
Right. And we are back.
Back.
Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Thanks for supporting the sponsors that support this show. Again, Double Take Mirrors, Bulletproof Designs, Fasst Company, Trail Tech, DDC. That's Delaney Drive Components, Climb, Scott Sports, Taco Moto, and Yamaha. And if you're not riding a Yamaha, then I'm going to just give you a hard time.
That's
'Cause,
right.
Blue Crew. I'm watching my drink spill. It'll probably spill
What's
on all my
going on
buttons
there?
and short circuit the thing. I don't know. It's probably it's a chemical reaction with the aluminum can. You saw I cracked this thing. I didn't spike it like I usually do.
Oh.
Yeah, usually I'm spiking them. So
Yeah.
that was your cue to talk. But
I'm talking.
how do you?
Let's talk about these goggles.
Scott goggles. I'm pissed that these are here because I want to wear those ones.
Why don't you wear them? Oh, these got to be your displays.
They're the display ones right now. I need to
Yeah.
get a couple more because I've been riding a lot in the mud and just white. Actually, so one of the kids that was over at when I got my goggles cleaned off, when we finally got the bike out, the Tenere out of the the Transalp out of the mud, got it over to where the truck was, where the truck drove right, quarter mile from where I was, and kid TJ, we've had him on the show. We call him side panels. He saw how bad the goggles were, and he goes like this with his shirt.
Yeah.
Like, here, I'll help you wipe them off because I was completely covered in mud too.
Yeah.
And so I handed him the goggles, and he just took it and just went. I'm like, whoa, bro. I'm like, just take it. And because I have like Rain-X and stuff on them, just take it one smooth, nice, it'll all fall off. You just going,
Here, let me fix that
So,
for you.
Okay. If Ron Wilder is in the chat, Ron, let me know because you are going to automatically win the signed Ricky Brabeck Tech Talk Taco Tuesday T-shirt, or I'm going to go back through the questions in the chat and pick somebody else. That's the giveaway for tonight. And next week we're going to have a Trail Tech giveaway.
Yeah. What do you want to give away?
I don't know.
We have cool universal TTOs, universal temp sensors.
Okay.
It comes with like this little sheet now, so you can use for like your cylinder head bolt or it comes with a bunch of different size radiator fin sensors. And so you can use it as a temp sensor on anything. You can use it on a computer, you can use it on a bike, you can use it on a car. It's pretty cool.
Oh, just because I used to have specific bike specific kits that would put inline radiator hose thing in, but I also had the ones that would stick because I used to use those for a lot of. Actually, I would use the old Voyager, the standard Voyager, to do a whole bunch of testing.
Yeah.
On stuff, so I'd have like 2 and 3 Voyagers mounted on a bike, and I'd have different temperature sensors around the engine. So because we did one test, I remember we were testing all different kinds of coolant and radiators and different impellers
fan
and
kits,
all this stuff. And what I learned is
Trail Tech fan kits are the best. That's what you learned, right?
The Trail Tech fan kits are excellent. Yes, they are excellent. They're but you got to remember that's all a system.
Yeah.
And when you change one thing, it affects the other. So like, it was originally started out as a coolant test, like all the different types of coolant, like the engine ice and the Evans and the water wetter and straight water and Prestone, all the ones. And then we're like, okay, there wasn't much of a difference between all of that stuff. The best was water with water wetter. Yeah. That was the best, but we're talking like maybe 5 degrees of temperature change and how it worked. But then we're like, well, what happens when you put a better impeller on? What happens when you put larger capacity radiators? What happens? Amazingly,
it snowballed.
The testing snowballed, but amazingly, usually one thing would affect something else. But when most people are more concerned with like boiling over, the best thing you do there is a fan.
Yeah,
that is by far and away to have a fan running, because usually boiling over in slower speeds. But if you see guys like in the races when their bikes are boiling over, that's from the clutch.
Yeah,
it's really hard to cool motor oil with the coolant that's running through your cylinder and top end. It will do it slowly, but that's why when you see on these factory bikes, they have an oil cooler built into that system as well. But that's different. But you start going to like larger radiators. Well, not only it takes a little bit longer for it to heat up, but once it heats up, it takes longer for it to cool back down.
Yeah.
Oh, let's spin the water through there faster. Well, if you spin the water through, sometimes the water can't cool down.
Right.
So if you're going to increase the water, the capacity, maybe then you want to increase the impeller. And now a lot of these bikes, these factory bike stuff, they're running electric impellers. They're not using the one in the cases anymore. They're spinning electronically. That's also based on the temperature of the bike.
Yeah.
So it's a system, and it's one of those things like people say, well, I want to do this. I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish, and how are you, should I get this? And I'm like, what are we trying to accomplish with it?
Yeah.
So, okay, back to Ashlito. I got stuck in a mud bog like that before my feet came out of my boot, and I had to flop my bike sideways till it was no longer in the mud. I tried that, and my feet almost came out of my boots too. It was getting sticky. Adobe tires, we call it down in Mexico. Pine needles and mud. Yeah. and knowing Victor, he probably goes riding there, and he has somebody walking behind him peeling that stuff off, making bricks, and then carrying him to build the next house. And Milagro Reposado. Nice, Mark Daniels. Okay, let's hit the questions. I hope you didn't mix up the order of those.
Oh, hell yeah, I did. Can I just start anywhere?
Let me see if I can figure out where the start is, and then we'll go from there.
These weren't labeled sheets, Jimmy. I wasn't given clear instructions.
I know. So you were like shuffling them like a deck of cards.
I was just looking to see what questions were interesting.
Okay, yeah. So we have to save Rooster Endo for the end.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's the first page. Yes. Okay. So hold those aside. Start with this question here. This question is from Michael. He's actually coming to the class this weekend. He's super excited about the class, and he reached out with these questions.
Okay, let's go with this one. The one that most intrigued me was Sherco. The guy at the dealer said that they're a killer brand, but struggling to get traction in the U.S. because they mostly do trail bikes, and the U.S. has more demand for MX bikes. But said they're extremely durable, and even stock come with really solid parts. Have you heard anything good/bad about Sherco, and do you agree with that assessment?
So, I think Michael's a newer rider, and looking to get into the dirt bike thing. And he was asking me. He said, I want to ask you some questions about some different bikes.
Yeah.
And so Shercos are a smaller brand. They are like, there's brands like Sherco, TM, Reju, Cove. Is kind of in that same league. Is
it Cove or Cove?
Cove.
Okay. I honestly didn't know. That's why I've never really.
I've heard it said both ways, and I think I asked, and they said Cove.
It's like a Cena thing,
right? And so it's a smaller brand, not very many dealers. some of the dealers are really, really good because they're really dedicated to these smaller brands. And so, but some of the dealers just have them and they don't, it's just like they took on something else. You know, they have a lot of different displacement by, you know, different brands, bigger brands, and they wanted to bring in a dirt bike brand.
Yeah.
So I don't have any experience riding a recent Sherco, probably in the last 5 or 6 years. I rode a 300 4-stroke 5 or 6 years ago and had some other stuff. They have a lot of guys doing extreme enduro. So they are a trail bike and an enduro bike manufacturer. They have a pretty strong following over in Europe, but again, it's still a smaller brand. And yeah, because they aren't doing motocross, they're kind of perceived this way. I don't have any personal experience with them. I think the guys that are racing them seem to like them, but I can't really tell you. I mean, the risk with the smaller brands is, are they going to be around in 10 years? You know, Honda will be around in 10 years, and are you going to keep the bike that long anyways? Those bikes are kind of cool to have. They're unique. Resale value is always horrible on something that's weird. I can tell you that with Husabergs.
Let me tell you a story about Husaberg.
You want me to
That's why you got to keep them forever?
No, I don't. I just don't let them go. But people send me all the links all the time when they're for sale, and I've wrecked for myself the resale value of Husabergs because now they're expensive. I won't sell mine.
Yeah,
but I can't buy the ones that I should buy because I talk them up and then the price goes up. So
I had a good friend in Oregon that had a Husaberg, and he loved that thing, and he was probably as big of an advocate for him as you were.
They are very unique. I mean, what they do, and I have an old one. I have a 02 Husaberg that's like,
I know. I've seen you ride it.
Yeah, it's so much power. Okay, let's get now. What's this?
He's like, oh, the power.
What's this question? What's the next question? He kept going.
The power is then another store was selling these crazy electric bikes by a maker called Surron, Surron.
Surron, yes.
Yep. While my brain immediately went to thinking about charging up a bike in the wilderness off of solar panels, I imagine that's probably not very feasible, and they wouldn't be ideal for lengthy trail riding because of limited range. Have you heard anything good, bad about Surron?
If you talk to a 16-year-old kid in San Diego or Las Vegas, they think it's the best thing in the world. They are ripping around on those things all over the place. They're kind of a hybrid mountain bikey parts, like on the brakes and the suspension pieces with an electric motor in it. It's not a true dirt bike. I'll call it a crossover bike. I don't know. I've ridden them. They're fun. I have friends in Hawaii. Jay, my buddy Jay, that was NMF-ing me. He's a big Surron. Him and his kids, they go all over the woods in Hawaii. Yeah. In the jungle on those things and have a blast. I don't have enough time on them to really understand how durable they are. I know there's lots of modifications for them. The Willy Boys are back. They usually come by and like do a show out in front of my house when I'm going live. The pipes are all chopped off and stuff. But there's a lot of knockoffs of Surrons. There's like Segways, and there's 10 different brands. I don't know this. I want to get one. I want to get one to do a proper test on it. It's just they are from a new era, and they don't. They probably don't want to give it to a dinosaur like me because they think I'm probably just full anti-electric bike guy, and I'm not that. I just want to know how they work. Yeah. So same thing with whatever the thing I was going to go ride, the Panther, or I don't know what the electric bike I wanted to go ride was. It was actually kind of a.
They're a riot.
It was a kind of a more. It was more like the Stark, you know. It's kind of they had one that was a medium one, a kind of like more like a Surron one, and they had one that was like more like a motocross bike, but the technology's it's coming. Just we'll see.
It's just about when you want to get on that train.
So I don't know. And so the question for you there is, how hard are you going to ride it? I don't think you can ride it that hard because I don't think they're that durable, especially if you're a bigger person. And what is your access to plugging it in? And don't get me wrong, it's just like fuel tank range. but it's a lot easier to put a big gas tank on a motorcycle than it is to put a bigger battery
That's true.
on the thing. And the brand I was going to go ride was the brand that finished their bikes in the Dakar in that experimental.
Oh yeah,
class. Yeah. It wasn't the one that snapped the headset off. I wouldn't have been so excited to go ride that one, but I'm pretty sure the amount of batteries I had in the bike that snapped the headset off, that's why the headset snapped off.
You know, I rode one of those Zero bikes on.
I've ridden those.
On was it the South Dakota BDRX? But yeah, so I rode it on one of the BDR routes, and man, that thing is crazy heavy. The DSXR XR or whatever, but it was like riding a freight train on gravel because it was so heavy and all the weight's down low.
Right.
That it didn't care what you were doing. Like you could be doing a handstand and you could come around a corner however fast you wanted. The thing was like on rails because it was just so heavy, you know,
Like stuck to the ground heavy.
Yeah, stuck to the ground heavy. Like
How
so,
was it maneuverable?
yeah, I mean, it didn't feel like super maneuverable, but it was snappy, you know, like
Yep.
it had all kinds of power everywhere you wanted
yeah.
it, and just every time you go to reach for the clutch and it's not there,
Yeah,
you know,
it's just one thing. It's gonna the electric bikes are probably gonna be. It's going to be a much easier gateway to get into. You don't have to all this clutch and brake and all this stuff like that. But it's just like when motorcycles first started coming over here from Japan and stuff, they were junk.
yeah.
And then China had a lot of junk for a while. That's not the case anymore. This is some of the stuff I was going to talk about with the show. I mean, the things that we saw there,
They're taking over.
the quality is incredible. And don't think for a minute that every brand you're familiar with isn't having a lot of stuff. KTM finally just said, well, we're going to tell everybody we're having a lot of our stuff built there. And there was all these really new adventure platforms that all had KTM 790 motors in them.
Yeah.
Or, knockoffs of them.
And KTM's like, where'd you guys get that?
Well, they're having their motor produced there.
Yep.
Or parts of it produced there, and they just filled in the blanks and made more of them. And now they're just they're going with it and licensing it. So on some of that stuff, there's a lot of 450 rally bikes. One was a twin cylinder 450 rally bike. There was some pretty neat stuff.
Have you talked? I won't sidetrack you. Never mind.
Okay, sidetrack. So he had one more section of his question.
One more. Lastly, there was an extremely cheap brand called KO. Dealer said it's Chinese and very cheaply made with parts that will wear out, break easily. I mean, I don't know if we need to keep reading this. For the price tag, I'd imagine that's correct. But my main question is this. For a newer rider who knows for sure they're in it for the long haul, looking for a first bike, is it smarter to buy a knock-around cheap bike at $2,500 KO KT 250 to learn on? So if you crash or lay it down, you're not beating up a nice bike? Or is it better to buy a more durable and top quality bike up front, like a $8,300 Sherco 250, with the intent that bike's parts aren't going to be totally broken or unusable after a spill or two?
So this is easy. Buy a used,
nicer bike.
Yeah, buy a used nicer bike. And like the Sherco, you're probably going to be able to get the parts for, but it's going to way easier to get parts for a Yamaha or a KTM or a Honda,
Yeah. You're not, and I don't know how new we're talking here, but like for a bike, like plastics are cheap. You know what I mean?
And with the main brands, there's companies like a Chirby's that make aftermarket stuff in different colors even, that you can just get the bike fixed up.
Yeah.
But Sherco, you're gonna have a hard time finding aftermarket parts for it. Same thing. That's another thing. Is it's harder to find the modifications for something like a Sherco as is to opposed to one of the bigger, more well-known brands.
You can get parts faster.
Unless you want to really learn how to work on motorcycles, do not buy one of those knockoff kind of brands, because
you're gonna have to make parts. You're gonna have to get creative.
Oh no, they'll tell you. Oh, it's exactly the same as the KTM, or it's exactly the same as the Honda. Oh, you can get parts. We went in quote undercover once and bought like an old Chinese mini bike, and I said, well, what about parts availability? And the guy's all, oh, well, it's the same as the Honda. You just go use Honda parts. They're exactly the same. This company makes all the parts for Honda. This is what the guy at the lawnmower shop that was selling the mini Aprilia 450 that was a 125 was telling me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where that's at.
Do you want me to read the next one?
Next question.
Okay, just picked up a stock 2020 WR250F with less than 5 hours on it. Took it out, and man, did I stall the crap of it all day on tight tree trails. It was super snappy, and the clutch seemed to release too quickly. Going down a decent graded, greasy, wooded trail, I couldn't idle down in first or second, had to feather the clutch and was stalling 50% of the time. Is this because of the bike being corked up or a matter of mapping? Can you list the part numbers for the ECU and CCU unit? In your video from stop climbing that loosely rock hill where you're clutching the whole time or in first? Oh, it's got a timestamp on here from a video that you posted.
Right. So he's talking about our WR450. He's talking about a 250.
Yeah.
And he was watching our WR450 video. So I think he's just this is a very typical YouTube watcher that got engaged and then wants an instant response immediately to his very specific questions.
That is quite specific.
Yeah. So the problem isn't the bike, especially since it's a Yamaha, by the way. Fine sponsor of this show.
Masterful. Brought it back around.
But you could do yourself a big favor by taking a Jimmy Lewis off-road training class where we teach you how to use the clutch for what it's for, to stop you from stalling and all this thing. Because he wanted to know when he sees in this one place where I'm in. I think he watched the WR250 video and the 450 video, because on the 250 video, I'm going up this really steep, and you can't. That's the thing with the GoPros and stuff. You can't tell how steep this is.
Yeah.
And he was asking whether I was in first gear or second gear using the clutch.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I was in first gear in using the clutch because I was going so slow at some points, and I was really I was working on a map at the time, just trying to get the throttle response. At that time I had a more open muffler, so not the stock muffler on it. So it actually made it harder to ride up that hill because the stock muffler would allow a bigger throttle position at the same power level.
Right.
And so it'd be less prone to stalling, where the power with the open muffler came on quicker, it made more power, and so you're closer to that on-off point to where the torque really falls off.
Right.
Where with the stock muffler, because I let's say I needed 16 horsepower to go up the hill, just as a rough number. And with the stock pipe, 16 horsepower would be a quarter throttle. Mm-hmm. But with the open muffler, 16 horsepower is like an eighth throttle. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to dance between 0 and an eighth.
Right.
But at 0 and a quarter is a little bit easier. And since when you shut it off, it doesn't shut all the way off. It tapers off when you have the more restrictive muffler. This is where I get in arguments with people all the time. I want more power. It's like, then turn the throttle farther. Okay? You want more power at a lower RPM, but you really don't. Yeah. Because it becomes harder to ride and more aggressive. And then he starts talking about the clutch. What are you doing with the clutch? It has enough power, like this to do it. If it's stalling, it's because you're letting the clutch out at an RPM that the motor doesn't. It's usually your timing with the clutch is not that good, and so you're letting the clutch out when you have 0 power coming out of the motor. In other words, the throttle's closed.
Right.
That's when the clutch needs to be in.
Right.
But what happens is you lose your timing, and you're slipping the clutch, and then finally it grabs and you lose control, and then you shut the throttle off, and then you try to pull the clutch back in. It's just learn to be a better rider, and then it won't be a problem. Number one, and then number two, try to quit blaming the bike.
Step one.
It's always that. So no, I probably was using the clutch, but I was going really slow. I was going slower than the gear I was in, so I needed to use the clutch at that point.
All right.
Yep.
Next question. Curious how you.
Did he want a map, or did he want what did he specific? He wanted the part numbers.
Can you list the part numbers off the top of your head for the ECU and CCU unit?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, no. We took a picture of them. There's a picture on that video. If you pause the video, I have to do this every time I try to fix this show.
It's got a timestamp, yeah.
Every time I fix this show, I have to go and watch a video and I always try to find the shortest video that's going to give me the answer, like how to correct your stream settings in OBS. And they're like, go to this menu, click on this button, click on this. I have to stop every single one of those times. So that's why I put the picture of the parts in there.
Yeah.
So you stop because I don't want to read them off, because everybody that doesn't really care, they're watching it just for entertainment value. They're waiting for me to crash.
Right.
Which is
Dance,
80%.
dance.
80% of the people on YouTube want to see the crash. And then the other people that so they just put a picture in there. Just take the picture and go to the website. Go to dirtbiketest.com, and there's probably a picture of that on the bike test as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Curious how you think. This is about a WR450.
Right.
Curious how you think this compares to the Euro 350s and Beta 390 for trail riding. I keep being tempted by WR's well-sorted KYB suspension, but feel like I'd miss easy lofting, log clearing torque of the bigger motor on my 390. Look what I just found in my pocket. I got a stash.
Oh, taco stickers.
Yeah. I got a stash of taco stickers. I was just.
What about root beer candies?
I didn't. I was stupid and I didn't grab any. And there was like a whole bin of them sitting there. It was like in his candy shop.
He advertises that on the ad.
I know.
He says he's going to throw those in.
He's supposed to come out to Big Dune to maybe ride with us.
Right.
Thursday or whatever. So maybe I just fill up your tank bag with root beer candies.
Tell him to stuff some in there.
Yeah.
So so back to the question for TJ Tool. What's it?
No, it's
TJ?
Josh Durston.
Josh Durston. Okay. So I think that you distracted me with the stickers already.
You distracted me with the candy.
Let me remember the Josh Durston. So the 350s. So if Yamaha made a 350, it'd be the best one.
It would, yeah.
I'm really surprised that they haven't. Because they would have to make an all new. They'd have to make an all new motor, and they wouldn't just downsize a 450 and do it, because it wouldn't be as good as the Euro ones. The European ones, especially the KTM ones, are really, really good right now at that 350 size. It's exactly what it is. It's a perfect blend of 450 type power, more torque, but it's like a Revy 450. And it's funny because now they're trying to make all the 450s act more like 350s, less reciprocating mass, kind of higher RPM, the string and the power up there a little bit. So there's you're just not going to get that kind of power out of a 250. But it's not that the 250s can't do it. It's just it just takes a little more finesse and skill. It's just not as easy, but then you get a little bit of weight penalty. Not much.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about 350. It's really not that much of a weight penalty for the power you get. So that's where you're at. I mean, I really wish Yamahas would do it. And again, the suspension's really good on the Yamahas, but it's really not that bad on the KTMs. Don't believe everything you read on the internet or everything that everybody else says except for me. Tell it like it is, man.
Hey, this is another WR450 question. Or it's not really.
Hey, I put all the Yamaha questions at the front. You know why?
Because they're the
Yamaha
best.
sponsors.
That's right.
Yeah. Your Yamaha questions go to the front of the queue.
I was going to say one thing about the electric bike question.
Yes.
TrailTech makes an electric motor hour meter now, specifically.
Really?
Yeah. So for your e-bikes, for your electric motorcycles, whatever. So check it out.
Awesome. Trailtech.net.
That's right. We can't afford trailtech.com. Because the guy wanted like $50,000 for it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Chump change, right?
Yeah, exactly. But another 450 one, he says, I still can't understand why they refuse to put a 6-speed in a WR 450.
Okay. If there is ever a 5-speed that doesn't need a 6-speed, it's the Yamaha transmission. And I've said this I said this when KTM was sponsoring the show and when Honda was sponsoring the show. I've said this forever. Yamaha has the 5-speed figured out on the 450s. Would it be better with a 6-speed? I think so. But I would actually I would actually make it an overdrive 6-speed at that point. And what I want in a 6-speed is not what everybody wants. I would use the first 5 in a semi-wide thing, and I'd like a really, really wide 6, or I don't mind having an underdrive low, and then I can gear the rest of it as long as it doesn't space the ratios out. But you don't need one on a Yamaha 450. It can get a little, the KTM's with their 6-speeds might have a little bit more legs, maybe, but not much. We've done top speed on these bikes, and it doesn't make a big difference. So, doesn't need it. I'm not saying that because they're a sponsor.
Jimmy Clickers class. I need 101, 201, 301, and 401. Let me know if you need a DP for that. I know a guy.
Okay, so DP probably isn't what most people think of that. He means producer. he's talking about shooting videos. He's helping
talking
out
about
some
shooting something.
Videos, yeah. So I on the Tenere video that I just released, I just tested some different shocks and suspension stuff from TourTech, and I kind of explain it. And I start, like anything, I go off the deep end, and I started explaining how I was turning the clickers to adjust the attitude of the bike with the high speed compression. And then I went in.
Wait, you went over the deep end on something?
Deep end, yeah. Okay. The fork oil, it came with 10 weight. I went back to 7 weight, finally went to 5 weight at a really high oil level. So it was still plush. I was trying to match the fork to the shock. Mm-hmm. With the 10 weight, it matches the tractive shock, which there's going to be a question about this in a second.
There was a tractive.
It matches that, but when I went to the JRZ shock, which is much more compliant, I had to go to 5 weight oil back in that fork to get the compliancy, and then I went to the high level. So and then I started talking about what I did on the shock to get it working the way that I wanted, and yeah, there's 30 years of suspension clicking in that, and I understand the basics of, like, I could tear a shock apart and valve it a little bit, but by no means am I an expert at that. But I can tell you I can feel what a clicker does, and I know how to make it work, and there's a lot of gray area in that.
You know what kind of drives me crazy about people with suspension? They ask about stock suspension on something.
Right.
And then you're like, well, did you set it up for like your weight and like how you're riding? And they're like, well, no.
Or did you set the first question when somebody asks me about this is it stock? And they'll go, yes. Did you set the sag? No. Go set the sag. And if it's an adventure bike, did you play? And then most of them have adjustable spring preload in some way, shape, or form. Have you played with that yet? At least. And on most of my adventures,
but I heard it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. You should just send it to me. I'm gonna start my suspension shop. I have a whole suspension shop in here. I have a better suspension shop than most guys have suspension shops. Believe it or not.
Uncle Jimmy's suspenders. Let's go.
I will squirt cleaner on it. I'll clean it off and I'll put my sticker on it, and I'll give you free revalves.
Okay.
After it's done, and you know what the free revalve will be?
Squirt and revalves.
Squirt. It'll be squirt and revalve suspension, and then it'll be just a service. The next thing I do after you send it to me the second time for a revalve, I would service it and I would send it back to you, and then it would probably be much better at that point, because it would definitely be better the first time. But if it wasn't, it'd get a free revalve. So then I'd actually do the service. Then when you send it back to me with a complaint at some point or another, then I would actually do something, because at that point, well, actually, I would ask you.
Conflict Motorsports.
There's different ways of doing this thing.
Unless you just take the money and then you send it back without doing anything.
I don't know that he did that, but I heard a couple stories. So then I would say, well, my setting that I sent you, you need to adjust the clickers. Maybe I didn't adjust the clickers right, so you tell me what it did. I tell you how to adjust the clickers. I probably never have to go inside of a shock for 90% of the customers.
Yeah,
but I really can't do that with. I think I'd be better off if I started an OnlyFans account.
OnlyFans
suspension service.
I was gonna say, well, I think you could merge these two. It'd be an OnlyFans for like, right, Jimmy here with your clickers. I got your clickers.
I got your clickers. Okay, next question.
Next question. Okay. Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for the great summary. Short question. Die you use Moscow 40
Die.
sideways question mark. Thanks from Switzerland.
Well, see, I'm going to give him a break on the spelling and stuff
Okay.
like that. So he was talking about our co-video, and I guess you can mount the Moscow sacks like vertically as well as...
Oh yeah, he's talking about the beaver tail sack. You can mount it so that the beaver tail goes like across the bike or fore and aft, right? So it's got two different mounting points so that beaver tails can either go like this, like from side to side, or they can
Like
go from
wrap.
front to back. Yeah.
Yeah, we did front to back. I didn't totally understand his
That's
question.
the way they come from the
Yeah, so
factory.
we did it standard. That's
Yeah.
how we mounted it. Yeah.
Moscow 40, Reckless 40, great product.
Right. They were flawless.
Yeah.
On our ride back. They worked great. We slapped them on a cove, rode 1,500 miles, didn't have an issue.
Yeah.
And they were easy to take off because one place we got into and we decided, can we keep going? And I'm like, let's take the lighter bike, strip it down, and at least find out. And I rode down a canyon. I came back and said, we're not going that way. Good move. So, because like I said, I didn't want to get in this, like the mud situation. I'm usually smarter than that, but I lost this one.
Okay, here's one about KX 450X. Love my 2023. Only problem, it's tough on real tight switchbacks uphill. Otherwise, it's a great all-around bike. I don't know that there's a question in there.
I'm pretty sure that you can't blame the KX for that problem. I would like to blame the most obvious thing, which would be the rider. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that bike, so that bike does not, unlike the Yamaha YZ450FX, which has its own unique 5-speed wide ratio transmission with a low first gear,
That's right.
that would help a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that if you took a high-level rider, they could do the switchbacks on any bike, and you took a lower-level rider, they couldn't do the switchbacks on even the best bike.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do at that point would be to become a better rider.
How do you do that?
www.jimmylewisoffroad.com
Oh my
for our
gosh.
classes. I can't believe I just snuck that in.
There you go.
But this is the problem with some of the bikes that have the motocross transmissions in them is the first gear ratio is pretty high. And even from the factory, they'll just gear the final drive down to help that first gear, but then it doesn't go fast enough on the roads. Mm-hmm. So you're struggling with that. Even with the more tame power output, the gearing is going to fight you.
Is the 450 way more of a handful than the 300? I realize there's less reciprocating mass in the 2T, but it seems like the 450 is great all-around package, especially for out west. Thoughts?
So he's talking about the KTMs. We rode all of the KTM XCWs on a single day. I didn't. Trevor went out and rode them. So they're it's funny because the KTM 300 has become heavier, and I was really, really surprised when we put it on the scale. I'm working on a test on the Beta and the KTM 300. I got to tell my KTM 300 story. And the KTM has become heavier. The Beta has always felt way lighter than it weighs on the scale. Mm-hmm. Now they weigh the same. In fact, the Beta was a pound lighter. So I can't believe the KTM has gained that much weight, and I can't believe the Beta has lost that much weight because Beta is very conservative with taking weight off of stuff, but they're definitely lightening things up. And then so I did sort of a comparison where I was riding Beta 300 and I was riding a WR 450, and there was 3 of us riding it. I didn't feel the weight nearly as much. We had 250F, 300, and 450, and the 2 guys from Avacana both preferred the 2-stroke and the 250F. Mm-hmm. I really like the 450 because the weight doesn't really bother me, and so what I'm learning from this, or what I've known for a while, is it depends on the rider.
Yeah.
Like it depends on how you ride the bike. If you ride a 4-stroke at kind of like low RPMs, which most people don't, they actually rev them. So I run my 450 at a pretty low RPM, so it doesn't gain that weight with inertial rotation with power. Where a 300 2-stroke, you can kind of rev it, and it's not going to get as heavy as the 4-stroke.
Yeah,
is where you really notice it. So it's tricky, it depends on what kind of rider you are. If you rev bikes, you're probably going to feel that the 300 is much lighter.
Yeah.
So and it, they're both making kind of really good power, plenty of power.
Here's one that says, I would like to see a comparison between a Cove and an AJP PR7, the other unicorn.
I don't
know that I'd call it a unicorn. I've ridden both, but one's. Oh, sorry. This is a question for you.
No, I'm going to let you keep going. You went straight to his question because I was going to tell him what I'd really like. I mean, I'm notorious for interrupting and just taking control. But I would have liked to have, just since we're talking about it, I would have liked to have tacos delivered here. I would like to be able to.
We should have picked you up tacos.
I would like to be able to have tequila and then still claim that I'm not drinking. And I would like to have people make videos for me for exactly what I want to know. And instead of having to look at 6 videos to try to figure out how to, lay a tile or fix the transmission in my tractor or rebuild a carburetor, I would want. This is what I want. Now, what did he want?
He wants to know the comparison. He wants a comparison between the Cove, which I assume he means the 450 Rally,
right,
and the AJP PR7.
Right. I'm getting one of those. It'll be out here on Friday.
Okay. Well, I've ridden both. And
so this is why I brought you Spencer from Trail Tech.
That's right.
Trailtech.net, which they make the Voyager Pro.
Voyager Pro.
The Voyager Pro.
Yeah.
I hope you don't go in there and see that I haven't really unboxed all that stuff I got, but I haven't needed it yet.
You're our number one tester.
Yeah. Durability of everything. So Spencer's going to tell you about those 2 bikes because this is I prep for the show.
The 2 bikes, I would say the Cove that's a rally bike. It feels fun to ride fast. The PR7 feels fun like a 450. Like it's fun. It's like a dirt bike. Feels like a dirt bike, whereas the Cove feels more like a rally bike, which it is.
The PR7, isn't that the one that is kind of, it's like a 650?
Yeah, but it's churched up like a
it looks like a rally bike.
Yeah. But where the Cove isn't it
really really heavy? It's more like XR650.
I don't think it's that heavy, is it? It didn't feel that heavy to me, but
I rode one around just briefly, and I thought it was very heavy and slow handling, and kind of reminded me of XR650, where the Cove reminds me of a a long time ago we debored a CRF 450X. We made it into a 400, and that's what the Cove reminded me of, like engine character wise. But it does feel like a rally bike because of its length and the fairings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they both kind of fit in that, for me, that sort of like smaller sized adventure bike category. Single cylinder adventure bikes, which are, you kind of have to make your own. But
I thought adventure bikes started at 1200 cc's.
Yeah, well, if you're a pussy, you can have a 1200, but you should now they're making 1300s and 1290s and everything else. Yeah. I only ride a 700. That's all I can handle anymore.
Okay. We got a good question in the chat
we got a question
about Trail Tech.
Oh, I thought one of your other guys. Okay, we got to answer all Trail Tech questions.
When will the next firmware update for the Voyager Pro be released? I heard they were working on a big update. We are working on a big update right now, and hopefully before Q1's over. So March, hopefully next month. Yeah, big update.
Huh. It's funny because all of the stuff they've done in the updates, I mean, some of the stuff with the buddy tracking just made it work better, function better. But all of the updates have to do with the adding maps and all the stuff that I don't do, because I don't use a GPS to tell me where to go, because I know I have unfortunately I have that in my brain, which is half of my problem. But it's because I've tested a whole bunch of pre-updates. Like they would send me firmware that was experimental.
I sent you the POI update, I believe I did, and we've been messing around with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean this even goes back to I have Voyager ones that I turn on now that say experimental code in them.
Yeah,
it's still it's just some weird stuff, but
anyway, soon.
Yeah, Mike Pearson, I think you're gonna like it when we do Rooster Endo in a few minutes. I think so. Might like it. Okay, let's burn through these questions. We're gonna rapid fire questions now.
All right, rapid fire. Let's go. What happened to the hot seat hot seat Zoom calls. I know Seat Concepts is gone, but I really enjoy hearing people calling in myself. Let's let the audience better articulate their questions. We've already talked that we're going to make this Trail Tech segment.
The Trail Tech Talk Hotline.
We're going to workshop that title.
Right.
All right.
Smarter
any insight on the 2025 new Yamaha XT700 Twin Scrambler and the 2025 the new Suzuki TS700 Apache, or just YouTube rumors? If true, would they make a good unicorn or just another KTM 690? Come on, let's not.
No, KTM 690 is not a twin cylinder bike. I would not. It would not surprise me that there would be some sort of a kind of but Yamaha, don't they already make a kind of a scrambler bike? That MT-07 engine, that platform is such a good,
as the kids would say,
such a good platform. That would be an awesome adaptation for it. It wouldn't surprise me, but at this moment, I'm pretty sure it's all rumors.
Yeah. Wish I would have seen your video before I did my first ever Moose install. I watched several videos of the guys in the perfect shops with the tools and took pretty good ass beating. I will be watching your video for the next set. That's good.
So I now that I'm buddies with the Rabaconda guys, and actually I because a bunch of people saw me change tires like that. Andrew Short bought me a Rabaconda.
Hey.
This is why I have one. It's not because I went and got. I now that I have one, I should have had one a long time ago. But I still wanted to show how you can change a Moose. So I just cracked a beer and dropped down on my hands and knees and got all moosey. Yeah. So thank you for reminding me.
Here's some sentiment. Beta, please stop using those tires. Okay.
Well, yeah. You change your tires. Take them. If you don't like those tires and you know this, which you know now, take them off and sell them and buy another set.
Okay. These free
I used to have a tire sponsor for a long time.
Yeah.
Budget cuts. I'm ready to start dropping some new info about the next new best tires.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good tires out there.
I love tires. Tires are good. These free podcast critics are getting out of hand. No need to pit J and JL against each other. Let Jimmy be himself. Are we talking about Jay?
Yeah, Dirt Bike TVJ.
Yeah.
Some guy wrote me a very nice letter and he told me how I should make my show. He said Jay, he wanted to let me in on Jay having his own podcast, because I've had Jay on the show before. And I said, it doesn't surprise me. The guy's got good ideas and good content and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, well, he gets right to the point. And I'm like, and I beat around the bush. That's where the skating or dancing around the questions.
Yeah.
Maybe,
going off the deep end.
I told him I wasn't going to do anything he said in his thing. And I think he did say maybe too many beers. And look at me now. Damn it. Okay.
What do we got here now?
Oh, Rooster Endo. Brought to you by Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co. If you need stuff for your bike, you can go to Taco Moto.
He'll give you the sauce.
They'll give you the sauce, and he has all the stuff. So this is a segment. So this segment, here's what it works. And I'm completely out of Rooster Endos, and it's going to be a short one tonight. And Mike, you're gonna be pretty happy, I think. So, this segment, you send us a picture of your bike. You're supposed to give us your make and model, and we'll start with the. That
one.
Where's
this one?
No, there's one that's missing. Oh, there it is, right there. This is the first Rooster Ender right here.
Okay.
We'll start with that one, and the reason we're going to start with that one is, anyways, you send us a picture, your make and model. Send us a picture of your bike. We discuss it.
Okay.
We say whether it roosts or endos. So if you want to do this, send me an email. It's real easy. It's jimmy@dirtbiketest.com. Send me an email with your Rooster Endo submission. Tell us a little bit about your bike, your modifications, whatever. You can tell us a story. We decide at the end. And then you win a $100 gift certificate from tacomoto.com. Tacomoto.co. Okay. What's our first one?
It is a quad, and it's that's not that one. There you go.
It's a quad.
It says, my trail cutting machine, cutting trail for the 29th annual Riverfront Grand Prix, 2001 Suzuki Vincent 500 4x4. Cut trail and work the races on this for several years.
Okay.
Mike Pierce.
So, Mike, thank you for sending this in.
He's got the cooler on the back. I mean, I got to give him that.
Because he's out cutting trail.
He's got Crispy
awesome.
Boys in there, I bet.
Yeah. So he's good. The reason that this is so important to well, I posted a picture of in the last when I said I wasn't going to do the show or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did post a picture of a quad.
Okay.
Oh, I know. I did the show, but I said send your Rooster Endo submissions or we're going to talk about these. And I sent a picture of a quad, so he got back at me. Good job on you for doing that. I'm stoked that you're out there working on the trails. It's actually not a bad picture of a quad. Except
it's yellow.
Except it's a picture,
which is cool.
Except it's a picture of a quad. That's the only problem. But that quad, since it's not a Yamaha, and it endos.
It endos.
Endos.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it an endo.
But good job on you, Mike, for pushing that back at us.
This is another Mike.
Right.
It says 2016 KTM 500. Is it the same mic or a different mic?
It is the same mic. So Mike actually sent that one as a spoof, as a joke, and now we have his daily rider on the screen here.
Oh man, this thing, sweet. It's a 2016.
Don't give away your try to leave the opinions for later. Let's keep it to the facts.
I got too excited.
You got
Jimmy.
super excited. You saw some bling in that thing, and you just started running away.
I was like, 6 days. Hello.
Hey, well, I know, but you got to be careful because he might have competitor products to Trail Tech's on there, and then you're going to have to endo him.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, go ahead. List.
Okay. 2016 KTM 500 EXC 6 days Trail Tech Voyager Pro.
Oh, you saw. That's why you said Roost right away.
I don't know.
A
Cherubies
he really has one.
He does.
Okay,
so
so
right here.
Okay, go. I'll let you go.
A Cherubies oversized tank, Tusk tires and accessories, Taco Moto accessories, accessory relay kit.
Remember, you're supposed to be the
impartial,
the objective deliverer of information. Then we'll get into dissecting this with comments.
Okay. Polysport items, E-Line carbon fiber products, JD jetting tuner, G2 ergonomics handguard.
Sometimes I interrupt when you're reading.
You?
Yeah, sometimes.
No.
I was gonna say I hear a little bit of getting lazy on the list when he just says products and doesn't. I mean, we have some people that put part numbers, and trust me, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
But no, okay, keep going.
Yeah. And a few other items. Does all I need for my dual sport here in Arkansas carry my trip gear in my Climb Arsenal pack? Plenty of storage. 2016 KTM 500 EXC 6 days.
Big ups to the dropping sponsors of the show on there. Climb.
Yeah. That was clutch.
Yeah, you know what you do? You make the picture a little better, just like
paint it blue.
You see, I do this in my videos and stuff. You'll see the Climb helmet hanging on the handlebars of the Climb Arsenal. You know how to do this,
right?
Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, good.
I like the Climb goggles. If you hang them from the handlebars with the Climb running down the side. I think we're getting the hook.
Yeah,
I think the pussy's bringing us the hook.
Pussy's in there. Okay, so now here's where we get to talk about this bike. This is a sweet bike. I'm not a big. What skid plate was it? Did you say?
It looks like a Tusk skid plate.
Is it Tusk one?
Yeah.
Not a big fan of the aluminum skid plates on the bikes anymore. There's a lot of other ones. Although I'm going to be testing some different ones because some people just like to murder the bottom of their bike. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Hey, I have tested some of the Tusk tires. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly good. Like
you look like a evil villain right now with your cat, and you're holding your cat. And
hold on, let me I'm going to talk about your motorcycle and pet my cat. This show is really going downhill.
This is fantastic.
Okay, so back to the bike. I'm going to say since he does have a Trail Tech Voyager on there, which is really good.
Voyager Pro.
Double take mirrors? Did you say double take mirrors?
Yeah.
but he didn't have a Trail Tech fan because they come with the fan.
Right.
He didn't have Trail Tech radiator guards. Maybe he has bulletproof design radiator guards.
Yeah.
Okay, those are good.
But you can, even if your bike comes with a fan kit, you can always upgrade it to a Trail Tech fan kit because now we can program our temperature. We can get a lot more out of it. This
is true.
So it's just something to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't play to our sponsors here. We just tell it like it is.
Nope.
That was solid information.
Straightforward.
I'm going to say that this bike roosts.
I think it roosts.
Because I ended as his quad. So it roosts. Okay. So that's a roost. I'm happy with that. And so this is breaking a rule, but go ahead.
All right. Hey, Jimmy, here's the full picture of both bikes with studs in the not snowy top of a hill picture. The single track in these trees is all snowed in just behind where I'm standing. Just came up here for the picture. My buddy's bike is a 2018 KTM 250 XCW. This is from December in Alberta, Canada, just east of the Rockies in an area called something Canadian. Eyeballs were burning up here. Not used to the sun. My bike really does only have the few small mods to it currently. This was my first ride on it, but it will be getting a few things. Came from an 07 300 XCW that also roosted. I really enjoy the show. I usually listen to it as a podcast at work. Over 10,000 minutes of listening time for an account according to Spotify. That's pretty good, Jimmy. Yeah. Had to catch up on some old episodes. This
is why I need to really communicate this information. I have dedicated listeners that they're motivated 100% by trying to win prizes. So because I can tell people like my I'm not famous enough, and my they can't see what I'm doing right now. But if I had a big rack,
if you had a pussy,
I would be more famous. But they want to win prizes, and he resubmitted because we talked about the bikes, and he wanted to give me some clarity. I can't believe that they came out of Canada, out of the ground to go riding on a cold day like this. But this is what it looks like around here right now. We've got that level of snow.
I don't want to see snow.
Well, you're going down. If you go up any place higher than this, you're going to get into it.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. We're going to try to.
So, but his name was Sean. Sean. Yeah, Sean. Thanks.
Yep.
Sean, I'm sorry you have to listen to this as a podcast. Your bike is these look like trail hogs. They look like really good bikes. There's really good single track in there. Gronk's probably all jealous because another Canadian guy, like getting their bike on there. But good. I'm gonna give you a roost on this. He said he got a roost before.
Yeah.
I don't think he won. But who wins? That's the question. You have to decide.
I got to decide?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be the 6 days.
Right. I know.
It's just a cool bike.
I think the quad wins.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, he's doing God's work.
That's what
It's cut and trail.
Mike, you are the winner of the Tech Talk Taco Tuesday Rooster Endo segment from episode 219 because you're clearing trails and you have a sweet bike. And for that, you roost. And that's a short Rooster Endo segment.
And we'll throw a Trail Tech something in there if he wants a TTO or something.
I will. Okay. You're getting stuff piled up. This is great. Trail Tech, great sponsor of the show.
That's right.
And helping us out right now. I tell you what, so you're talking about the new temperature sensor.
Yeah, universal temp sensor.
Universal temperature sensor.
I got to get you a couple of those. You could use them. You could put them on your tractor. You could put them on anything.
I do need them on my tractor. You know, the hood's up on that thing right now. It's kind of a little hot. Well, somebody cartwheeled that tractor before. Not me. Previous owner. Literally, it cartwheeled. And it pushed the radiator into the fan.
Yeah.
You know that tire pump thing you guys have?
Yeah, portable air compressor.
That thing's so sweet.
We really like it.
So we use it, or I use it around here all the time. But when we're doing our school, I have all the rental bikes. I mean, this is a guy with too many bikes problem. When you have a lot of bikes running,
you got a couple.
Yeah, but I have a couple bikes. I have a couple of those things too. But my guys that check all the tires, just hand them one of those things. They used to have to carry around the
little
air
compressor.
Tank. The little compressor was super noisy. Yeah. That one's not super noisy. But yeah, it makes everything. You go to trailtech.net and check out some of the cool products they have here. And Spencer, thanks for kicking that in. I will add you to the email with Mike
Sweet.
when I send it to the other Mike, and then you can take care of him. So he'll get a surprise that way. Flying Brian 529 says, Jimmy, shirts on the way. Okay, can we verify here? There's people that have evidence that looks like shirts are getting to be on the way. Yeah, they're getting close. And Jason Abbott likes tacos. That's good.
Who doesn't?
We're
I can't
doing
believe we didn't
Restore
bring you tacos.
Endo.
I asked you for a taco recommendation, and then I didn't bring you tacos. I don't know.
That's
why.
okay. I got some stuff I cooked the other day. I'm ready for it. So,
these?
don't
all in one order.
don't disorganize them. My whole life will go to shit.
He was just proving that they do exist.
Yeah, they
in real life.
exist. No, their t-shirts are on their way. This has been hell. I was supposed to get them before Christmas.
No.
Yeah, so everybody's getting a late. I like to extend the holidays.
That's right.
I don't celebrate holidays. So, Mike, congratulations. He's in the chat there, really good. And I'm looking for the really good question. I think that Ricky Brabeck. You know what? I'll get more signed. He's coming. He'll come by here pretty soon. So he'll have some rally navigation needs, and we'll have to discuss riding. So because the guy who bought Ron Wilder, who's an avid listener, bought 7 t-shirts. And so that's gonna be his surprise in the box.
That's rad.
Yeah. So those are hard to come by. I would think a Tech Talk Taco Tuesday t-shirt with Ricky Brave. This is because that's a limited edition shirt. We're only doing them once. So Jerry will make a new design and we'll call it good. Spencer, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Thanks for helping out this show. I would have been really boring, because I would have been concise with my questions. I would have answered them quick because I wasn't drinking, and the show would have been much better. But you came in here, distracted me, and turned into the regular show it is. So with that, subscribe to my premium channel that I don't have anymore, or I never had.
Your OnlyFans?
And I'm working on the OnlyFans for me, my cat, for Spencer, and all the sponsors, including Yamaha, Taco Moto, Scott Sports. Man, there's a couple other things. Everybody thinks I'm going to end the show. So I'll tell you what.
Just when you thought we were done.
I'll tell you what. On the next show, I'm going to tell you how I seized our KTM 300
Okay.
TBI bike.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you how I seized it. Not 100% my fault, but it seized.
But
Did a
some
nice four-corner.
percentage. That implies that it's some percentage.
It's running
of fault.
again.
Okay.
So remember this if you're watching the show. Remember that. I'll tell you how it seized. I'll tell you about it. I'll bring the piston in here too. I can confirm it's not clay. We forgot to get into the when Jimmy learned about Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Which is
It's a good story. I thought the Valentine's Day story was better though.
that was the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah,
It was you and me and Rodeo Cowboy.
Yeah. This would be the tomorrow will be the second Valentine's Day that I've spent with you. Yeah. That's kind of weird.
Oh, I don't think so.
Huh.
I don't. My wife probably thinks it's weird.
My wife definitely thinks it's weird.
Well, at least you're riding dirt bikes, and that's
Yeah.
what I'd like to do tomorrow too. So we'll see how things work out. So yeah, we'll talk about these things and other things next time we have Spencer on. When are you coming back? Are you around next Tuesday?
No. Hopefully I'll be home.
You'll be on the way home. Okay.
Yeah. But I should come back again this winter. I love riding down here.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. Thanks everybody for dropping stuff in the chats, and I think that's it. I think we should make this show go away. So I have a button I can push. Shoot, I didn't
have
program
the
that
power.
button in. Remember I told you this thing broke? Let's see here. There's something called. Let's see. Yeah, outro. Let's try that.
Outro.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
I need to update this thing because it has previous sponsors on there. I should call them up and tell them they need to pay me.
Ruh-roh.
Okay, everybody. See you out on the trail. Cheers.
Cheers.
If you liked what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.